Hello guys, Omni here. I wanted to give you guys an update on something we talked about a few months back regarding The Flash and the DCEU, Ezra Miller, Grant Morrison, and the directors at Warner Brothers that had picked to helm the film. We now know that the people that were slated and that have been slated to direct the movie for the past year or more now have left the project. Daly and Goldstein are out, and after Ezra Miller and Grant Morrison had collaborated to write their own draft of the script to compete against the director's draft, it seems that they've decided to part ways. I don't know if this was Warner Brothers' decision or the directing pair to step away from the project. Ezra Miller still is our Flash. That hasn't changed. It doesn't seem that the renewal period on the hold period on his contract, I guess they decided to re-sign up for it because as far as the reports are showing, he's still going to be the Flash in the Flash movie. But we have a new director. It's going to be Andy Muschietti, who is another horror director. He directed the recent It reinterpretation. So, DC's pulling in yet another horror approach, a horror director, some kind of horror element into the film. Now, I know they were wanting to go for something lighter where Ezra Miller and Grant Morrison wanted to go a little darker. And I'm really surprised that they opted against something that Grant Morrison had drafted, especially he has some pretty crazy concepts, definitely some comic book feels. He knows the genre. He's a powerhouse in the comic book realm. And I'm really surprised that, they turned down his draft because right now there is no draft for the movie yet again. So it is back at square one, but we have a new director to helm it. We still have our cast, but I'm still confused at what direction this movie's going to take, how it's going to get off the ground. They've been having a lot of luck, though, with these horror approaches, with James Wan stepping in and turning Aquaman into a powerhouse billion-dollar movie. Shazam, though, box office-wise, didn't quite perform, I'm assuming, the way they would have liked. It was still critically and audience-wise really well received. Very, very well received by hardcore DC fans. I loved it personally myself. And I think the way they incorporated that really lighthearted tone with those darker horror elements that were surprisingly shocking for the tone the movie was going with, and how it jumped in and out of those tones repeatedly, it really makes me wonder what they're going to be doing with this Flash movie. If it's still going to be Flashpoint at all, if it's going to be an origin story, if it's going to take place prior or after BVS or Justice League. I don't know. We still really don't know and are in the dark about what's going to be going on with this movie. If anything else has been reported since I've been talking about this, I just recently saw the article that came out today just stating that the directors have been swapped, a new one has been put on the project, Ezra Miller's still in, and all the drafts that we've had up to this point as far as the script is concerned have been tossed out. And this is all on Warner Brothers' decision-making side. This is all Warner Brothers making these shots. This is the direction they wanted to take this and go with, and this is where I guess they feel they are moving forward with this movie. For all intents and purposes, it should be going on the fast track to being released, at least getting production going in the next year or two. So who knows? We'll see. This thing has been on the back burner for so long at this point. It's a little ridiculous. I would like to just see the movie. I really want to know what was in the tossed out scripts, though. I really would like to know what Daly and Goldstein were doing and why that jaded Ezra Miller, which prompted him to team up with Grant Morrison to write their draft. I really want to know what their draft was because, man, like I said, the DCEU is such a mess. No matter how big a hit Aquaman was, their continuity is completely trashed now if they do not have Ben Affleck anymore, which they don't. And we still really don't have any clear answers on if they still have Henry Cavill at all. The recastings aside, ignoring continuity aside, Flashpoint, whether it's needed or not, I still argue that that would resolve the continuity and at least give an explanation for the changes. I wish, again, it's a story that needs to be told way later, but Warner Brothers has completely screwed the pooch at building this connected universe. Now they've done some great work in the films that have focused on distancing themselves from that collected continuity. They still exist in the DCEU. Do not think they don't. Post Justice League, regardless, that timeline still happens. With Wonder Woman 1984, I don't know how that lines up in the continuity just yet. I really don't know what's going on. We got the Suicide Squad reboot coming out, which is ignoring the first movie completely. I don't know. When it seems like they're making some great decisions with Aquaman, Captain Marvel, this Joker movie coming out, which is completely separate from the DCEU. It's a Elseworld story, but it's just like we're stepping back into muddy territory when we hear things like this Suicide Squad reboot. It's not a sequel. It is not Suicide Squad 2. It's just when they're being like, oh, it's connected, but we're changing things in the middle of this continuity. It's going to be inconsistent, while it's already inconsistent from the meddling that they did in the rewriting and the reshoots for Justice League, which completely train wrecks, whether you liked it or not, whether the execution was good or not. It completely breaks the continuity of Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League as it was set up. And it's just, there's some really good films in this connected universe that are good in and of themselves, but in the greater whole, it just causes problems. And that's just where DC just got off on the wrong foot, shooting for the wrong thing right out of the gate, trying to build a house before they even put down a foundation at all. One movie is not a foundation, and it's the fact that they're still pushing for this connectivity is just going to fall apart eventually. Still, if they just ignored everything before Aquaman, which is hard to do because Aquaman references the stuff that happened before it, but that I think if they just kind of pretended away everything that happened before it and just moved forward from there, maybe we could have a coherent continuity and this wouldn't be so bad. But who knows? We'll just see what comes out. I've been looking forward to this Flash movie, but who knows? Whatever. I have the Flash TV show on CW, and that's still good. At least I can always rewatch seasons 1, 2, and 3, but I like where that's going. It has its ups and downs. It's okay where it is currently, and I'm more excited for Crisis on Infinite Earths than I am about what's going to happen in this upcoming Flash theatrical movie. But who knows? We'll have to see how this all pans out, but we'll be keeping an eye on it. If there's any other news, I'll be sure to give you guys an update. That I'm a DC guy. I love the MCU. I love everything they've crafted, and it just makes me so sad that DC couldn't do this. And it's all Warner Brothers, man. It's all Warner Brothers. Like, you can blame it on Zack Snyder, but Warner Brothers chose that guy. It's just like when you choose your director, you need to know where they are in their mindsets with the thing that you're handing them. Zack Snyder says he doesn't like those types of superheroes. He doesn't like those types of comic books, and he would write his versions of them. And he even said if they had let him, he would taken things even farther as of a departure away from where they would have been, which probably would have pissed off a lot more people. But who knows? We'll see how this turns out. So I want to know what you guys think. I'm going to pass this off to you guys. Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, support the channel. If you didn't like it, let me know what you didn't like down in the comments below. and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody.